The legislature in Springfield is scheduled to adjourn a week from this Friday. I understand that the General Assembly has a lot on its agenda, starting with dealing with the budget issues, but also yet to act on key legislation that we believe is important to the people of our city. Today, I want to ask the General Assembly to act on and pass the following legislation that will help make, we believe, not only our city safer, more affordable, improve the quality of life while protecting our schools and our students. Members of the City Council have gone to Springfield. They've gone, whether Springfield or Washington, D.C., on behalf of the legislative agenda, and they carry the same message. I want to thank each and every one of them for their hard work. They not only represent their community, but the entire city, which is really important. First, it is abundantly clear to everyone that we need stronger gun laws, not just in Chicago, but across Illinois. Getting more illegal guns off our streets is an important part of our long-term strategy to prevent and fight crime in all of our communities. Passing gun laws we have proposed will help us make it clear to everyone that we're serious about ending the violence, especially against our city's young people. And these gun laws will give us a new tool in the ongoing battle with the gang thugs that would terrorize many of our communities. Our bill, House Bill 5832, strengthened the penalties for unlawful use of a weapon. Today, unlawful use of a weapon is like spitting on a sidewalk. It's being treated by the courts that way, truthfully. And so unlawful use of a weapon, they say many times, well, you missed him, you really didn't hit him. And so unfortunately, they throw the case out. This bill will be soon taken up on the Senate floor. We're very optimistic about it. If this bill becomes law, people caught carrying a loaded weapon will not be let off scot-free as they've done today, as many of them are done today. We continue to work towards passage of our proposals, make it mandatory Class 1 felony for knowingly selling or transferring a gun to a known gangbanger. People need to know that there are strong penalties in place if you're knowingly supporting gang violence, and those are called straw purchasers on a daily basis. We require background checks for the sale of private guns so that known criminals cannot purchase guns as easy as they can now. Limit the number of handgun purchases to 1 per month. We expect that some of these will be called on the floor this week of the House. And next, I want again to challenge Springfield to enact the property tax relief that we have proposed. Mayor Blank has worked on it very closely with all the aldermen here in the City Council. We have worked hard on this issue this session, but there is not yet a bill to provide the relief we need. It is critical that during these very, very tough economic times, and we see property values drop all over, not only Chicago, but throughout the country, property values. There's only one area that part of the country that property values have not decreased. That's Washington, D.C. They keep going up. So if you move there, you'll pay more money for a home than a year ago, which is an exception throughout the country. And so, again, property values have fallen all over the metropolitan area, unfortunately. We want to keep Chicago very affordable by giving our hard-hurt homeowners the relief they need and deserve. By working with the General Assembly, other elected officials over the past 6 years, we've been able to provide substantial relief. But if this new exemptions are not enacted this session, then the property taxes that go out in the fall will be higher for a large number of Chicagoans. Among the hardest hit will be those who least can afford it. Further, to help maintain our neighborhood quality of life, we want to again ask the General Assembly to pass legislation requiring banks to maintain their foreclosed property in Chicago. Usually, when a piece of property is foreclosed and it's abandoned, they call the alderman. Then the alderman calls the mayor. Mayor calls the police department. We call it sanitation. We call the building department. We are basically working on foreclosed homes. So we think banks have a responsibility and obligation to make sure their properties don't become havens for crime, gang, guns, and drug activity, and graffiti, and prostitution, everything that goes out with abandoned buildings. And, of course, it affects the value of everybody on the side of them. It affects their insurance rates. It affects their value. Once a vacant property is identified in the community, it sometimes becomes a target for window bashing, brick throwing, other legal actions because no one's there and no one's going to take care of it. All this harms the quality of life in our neighborhood, creates a greater sense of uncertainty. We continue to work with the General Assembly on this issue. We think it's very important. Somebody has to take responsibility. It's not the city's responsibility. It's someone's responsibility. We think it's the banks. We are hopeful that this legislation will be passed before adjournment. In addition, I want to ask the General Assembly to at least maintain last year's funding for a level of public education. In the best world, they would shift other resources to education so that there is at least some increase in funding next year over this year. As I said before, raising taxes should be the very, very last resort. And you have to do things that are necessary. I'm taking 29 days. Cabinet taking 24 days. Members are taking 12 days. City workers. And you have to cut inefficiency and waste constantly. We just had a press conference 2 weeks ago. We're cutting more and more money out. You have to show the public that you're looking at inefficiency and waste, and that's what they want to hear. And you're doing everything possible, and you realize the pain that they have in all their families and all their communities. And so, in the schools, we made great progress. And the highest priority in government should be, from the federal, state, and local government, one priority, which should be education. That should be the highest priority. This is the only way. Greatest equalizer is the quality of education. And so again, we make this as our highest priority. We believe the state and the federal government should do. If funding is cut, my concern is, of course, it's a state responsibility when they cut funding, and that, of course, has a huge effect upon all the school districts in Illinois, and they realize that. And so what we're asking is, remember, this has been pending for a long time. It's been going on for a long time. It just did not happen. And so the preparations of all those who worked in state government realize this, so they have to take responsibility. And you have to make some difficult decisions, and you have to set your priorities. And that's what we're doing today. Thank you.